Here are some interesting coincidences. Azra Q. Normani, writing in the New York Times, link below, observes that more than 50 of the 200 groups on the Women's March Against Trump are funded by George Soros. Also supporting the march was Ms. Magazine, link below. The first publisher of Ms. Magazine was Elizabeth Forsling Harris, who was responsible for the route of the motorcade on the day Kennedy was shot. Speaking of daft feminists, Theresa May is back in the papers saying how she is going to upbraid Donald Trump for his sexist language. This is apparently something Theresa May thinks is a winning hand, because she was fed the question last week by Sophie Ridge, link below, and again today by Andrew Marr, link below, and she has been spoon-fed it at Prime Minister's Questions, link below. Ooh. And the Daily Mail trailed her appearance on the Andrew Marr show, link below, with a cut-and-paste article padded out with a few quotes from Nicholas Fatty Soames and Sir Simon Burns. Whoever cobbled this piece together did so in a hurry, as you will note that it is accompanied by a picture of the bust of Martin Luther King that is captioned as the bust of Churchill. This is clearly an insult to women. The Mail would never have made such a mistake about chests. Fatty Soames's hectoring of Donald Trump is particularly amusing, as Mrs. May, in her role as house mistress, would surely have summoned his famous art-forging forebear to her study for her by now well-practised routine on sexist insults. Sir Simon Burns is not only quoted in the trailer for the Juggalogs broadcast, he also has an opinion piece in the Mail, linked below, which described Donald Trump's inaugural speech thus: Donald Trump failed dismally to rise to the occasion and delivered an unedifying and undignified rant at a time when the United States is seen more as the disunited states. He had a golden opportunity to unite the nation. Instead, he served up an edited version of the divisive campaign speech that he has made ad nauseum over the past 18 months. That's curious, I thought. Not only have I never heard of this MP, but I have no idea what he's talking about. Even more curious is that Wikipedia actually supplied the answer to my questions. Blah blah MP for Chelmsford, blah blah Remainer, blah blah fiddle travel expenses, blah blah second cousin of David Bowie, blah blah. Oh, here it is. Despite his conservative views, Burns is a proud supporter of the more liberal-leaning US Democrat Party. Citing the big tent nature of American political parties, he argues you can't just say because you're a British Conservative, so you have to be a Republican. American politics isn't contained in that way. Turn the clock back to the 1970s and the Democrat Party went from the liberal Kennedy wing right through to the out-and-out racists in the southern states. The Republican Party had its liberal wing, people like John Lindsay, Chuck Percy and Nelson Rockefeller. Which is true. The Democrats are historically the conservative party of US politics, and to some extent remain so today in spite of the progressive efforts. Mr. Burns picks up on his theme of being an OBOT in his opinion piece. Trump's Republican Party is a far cry from the Republican Party of the 1967. The moderates have been driven out and replaced by religious fanatics and right-wing zealots. Now, We can argue all day about why this is wrong, but no matter, because the key thing for Sir Simon is it was Mrs. May who famously warned the Conservative Party against being seen as the nasty party. Her wise words laid the foundations for much of our party's and her own subsequent success. But if any political party now deserves to be known as the nasty party, it is Trump's Republicans, a party which the Conservative Party is linked to. At which point I admit I have no idea what he is talking about, or indeed why an MP elected in 1987 at the height of the Thatcher-Reagan era would say such a thing. But I suspect sense is not the intention behind Mr. Burns' statements. The clue lies in this article from the BBC, linked below, headlined "Rail Minister Simon Burns stands down in Deputy Speaker bid." As we know, the man Sir Simon called a stupid sanctimonious dwarf, Speaker John Bercow, is currently in the 8th year of the job, having said when he took the role that he would serve for 9 years, linked below, and of course this has caused gossiping tongues to wag. It has also led to those seeking the principal advantage of being Speaker, that you stand uncontested for election, to start angling for promotion to the chair. Thus it is not a bad idea for a Tory MP with a rather right-wing voting record, linked below, to start pandering to the anti-Trump progressive crowd of the BBC, SNP and Labour, trapped as they are within the algorithm of "because you like The Guardian, you will like BuzzFeed." What it does not explain is why Theresa May insists on being gently lobbed questions about Donald Trump's pussy, other than it wastes time that could be spent answering real questions.